أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Assalamu alaikum, brothers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala count the steps that you have taken to come to seek the knowledge of your deen, inshallah ta'ala, and we do dua for ourselves and we do dua for all the Muslims, inshallah ta'ala. The subject of today's talk is for the Muslims, for the youths and for the non-Muslims. It's really a subject at this moment that is being discussed everywhere or every single part of this country. You find that every 5 years you get this topic that actually comes up, and for the Muslims especially, we want to find out, is it halal, is it haram, because some people are saying it is okay to vote, it's not, it's haram to vote. Well, at the same time, we should participate in the system because it actually gives us some sort of benefit. So inshallah ta'ala, we have brother Fahad with us, who's gonna discuss this issue with us, and then we can understand whether it is halal or haram and what benefit actually brings to us as Muslims. So inshallah ta'ala, after that you will have the chance to ask questions, so you can make any comments for yourself. So without any further ado, hand over to brother Fahad. So Fahad, brother.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. Assalamu alaikum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Surah An-Nisa, verse 65, فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَاكِمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُوا فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَرَجًا مِمَّا قَضَيْتَ وَيُسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. That Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, but no, by your Lord, they cannot have faith until they make you, O Muhammad, a judge in all matters, in all disputes, and find in themselves no kind of hesitation, no resistance to accept that, and they submit fully to your judgment. So on this issue of elections, I'm not going to go into this issue of halal and haram here, because it's quite clear cut that legislating by other than Islam in a non-Islamic system is clearly haram, not allowed from an Islamic point of view. So there's no discussion to be had on that issue. There's no discussion for us to have whether it's halal or haram. It's like discussing, is it halal or haram for us to drink alcohol? That in itself will be a kind of shirk, because Allah already has decided. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already decided that the hukm, innal hukmu illa lillah, is only for Him, then who are we to even discuss the issue of whether it's halal or haram? So I'm not going to go into that, but what I'm going to do is discuss a bit more into other aspects of the current atmosphere. We know on TV, on the Sky channels, you've got people coming on saying, is it allowed, is it not allowed to vote, what benefits are we going to have, what benefits can we get, what should we do, shall we do some strategic voting. There's a lot of discussion happening, as Brother Qais mentioned, in the local communities up and down the country, not just non-Muslims but Muslims as well, because now we've been in this country for many years, 30, 40, 50 years. We've established communities, we've established ourselves, we've embedded ourselves into this community. So people naturally will ask, okay, this is a major issue coming up, it's a major aspect of this society which we need to have our say in, and we need to find out what we can get from this system. So the background is that there's a lot of discussion. Everyone knows, maybe ourselves here, or a lot of the brothers here are not at that age of voting, or you're quite young, but you'll notice probably by the next elections, general elections, you'll have more opinion on this. You'll have more people coming and asking you, who are you going to vote for? Who are you going to give your backing to? but maybe not now, but if we can understand this core fundamental issue of how to approach this issue of participation, democracy and what have you, then when it's time to vote and when it's time for you to be able to go and participate in a discussion, you'll have something based upon Islam to guide your thinking on that as well. So democracy, the title of today's talk is The Democratic Illusion. Yeah, the democratic illusion. And if you look at this thing about democracy, because democracy is the whole thing, the whole ruling system which elections, participation sits in. Yeah, elections participation is one aspect of the democratic framework in this country and many of the Western countries. So when we look at democracy, what things come to our mind here? We see that the West pushes this quite strongly across the Muslim world. That the West uses this as a measurement to judge a country if it's backward or progressed. Yeah? So it goes across the world with its intellectual leadership of democracy and Western capitalism. And it takes this to the other countries such as Asia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, Middle East, Africa. And it measures every country based upon this framework. Are they democratic? If they're not democratic, they're backward. If they're not democratic, they're not progressed. Yeah? They're still a third world country. They don't have no future if they don't adopt this concept of democracy and implement this. Yeah? So you can see the West really pushes this idea across the Muslim world and the rest of the world. But especially the Muslim world, because there's a level of resistance and level of hesitation in accepting this concept of democracy as a ruling system. But the question we need to ask is, what is democracy? How does democracy work? Yeah. And let's look at the example of democracy in this country or the Western countries. Yeah. Let's see who really has influence over this system. Is it the voters every 5 years who come and give one vote every 5 years and then go back to sleep again for the next 5 years? Or are there other factors or other people who have more influence and more say than the normal voters in this country? So democracy, just a basic definition, is the rule of the people, for the people, by the people, which basically means a human being is sovereign. He has the right to decide halal and haram, what's good and bad, how people should live, yeah, what we should do, what policies they should legislate with. Yeah, and that's basically the core fundamental aspect of democracy. Whichever part of the Western world you go to, there might be different version, representative democracy, direct democracy, and what have you. But the fundamental concept behind this, yeah, is that democracy is a human being, he's sovereign, and he has the right to make laws. He has a right to decide what is halal and haram, effectively. Yeah, what is good and what is bad, how you should live your life. So that's what democracy is. And that's the definition of democracy. But let's have a look at the system, because they paint a good picture. They paint a picture which is an illusion, as the title says here. That democracy, in a democratic system, everyone has rights, everyone has the right of opinion, everyone can seek justice, everyone can live life, and everything is decided based upon the decisions of every human being. Yeah, and that's the picture that's painted, and that's what they take to the Muslim world and say, you don't need democracy, you're backward, you don't need any other system but the Western system. And that's something which they paint and win people over with. And unfortunately, they've won many of the sons of this ummah over to this idea of democracy. But if we scratch beneath the surface, yeah, and look a bit more deeper and try and understand what the system is, we're going to find that, hold on, it's not just the people every 5 years who go out and vote, or the people are the ones who have the influence on the system, or who decide how to live life and how to govern society. There's other factors that we need to look into. There's other aspects of this society we need to look into, because they're not telling us the truth. They're not telling us how it is. Yeah, if they came to us and told us the truth, how it is, then it'll be easier for a person to say yes or no, that's a good system, that's a bad system. But the picture they paint and the reality behind it is two different things.